Welcome back, folks. My name is Daniel, and you are here on Psychology Teachings. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about prioritizing. Now, let's break it down. What is prioritizing? What does it mean to prioritize? Well, in simplest terms, it would mean where you take an activity or an action and you put it above everything else that you have to do in that day. You say this thing, for whatever reason, maybe its deadline is coming up, it has the greatest impact, I'm going to put my center of attention on this before looking at all these other things that I have to deal with. Now, I want to ask you, what are some things that you prioritize throughout your day? What are things that you do every day that you put above the rest? Could it be working out? Maybe you play an instrument, maybe you play guitar, you want to make sure you play guitar every single day. Maybe you love the outside and you want to go out for a walk every single day. What are things that you do no matter what, that you try to put on top? Now, this is very closely related to habits, which we'll get into that in a different video. But for right now, let's look at something such as working out. And let's look at the simple process that the mind goes through when prioritizing something such as working out. So I can look at myself as a personal example. There was a time when I would work out almost every single day. And there was a time that came up recently where I have a chance to work out. And I think to myself, do I want to work out or check out these videos on Netflix? And I decide to go with Netflix. So what ends up happening is, as you guessed it, Netflix goes on for way too long. Next thing I know, it's just past midnight. And I'm thinking, okay, do I want to work out now or do I want to get some rest? And personally, I chose to get some rest. And the reason why I did that was not so much as laziness between those two, but it was because I had something to wake up for the next day in the morning. And when I weighed working out versus sleeping versus prioritizing rest, I prioritized rest because the thing that I had to do the next day required me to have my full mental capacity and full cognitive energy with me. So that I totally understand. Prioritizing sleep over working out, okay. What I'm personally not okay with is prioritizing Netflix over working out. Now, the beautiful thing is, we're all human beings. We all have our different interests, our different values. You might totally be okay with that. You might always prioritize Netflix over working out, and that's all right. But the importance of it is, and what I really want to shed some light on, is why do you prioritize what you do? So let's say two things come up. Let's say you want to go to the gym again, and this time you have this huge midterm coming up. So now you're comparing the two. What your mind will do subconsciously, it's going to start weighing the severity of the actions if you don't do them, possible consequences of not doing them, and the rewards of doing them. Now, a lot of the times people will just give it'll just be an immediate thought. They won't even have to think about it. They'll say, do I work out? Study for exam? Obviously, study for the exam. But now, if we were to take an extra step and delve into it, we were to look at this individual would start weighing the pros and cons, and it would happen extremely quick without even thinking about it. But let's consciously put an effort and say, okay, if we don't work out, what's going to happen? Well, we've been working out for a while now. We're going to lose our momentum, and that's not going to be fun because the next time we work out, it's going to be a little bit harder to get into it. Now, what happens if we don't study? Well, if we don't study, there's a big chance that we might not get a good grade on this exam. There's a chance that we might do quite poorly or possibly even fail. Now, how do we figure out which one to prioritize? Well, we started thinking, how important is working out to us? And how important is this test to us? So, I started thinking, working out is great and all. If I don't work out today, I can always work out tomorrow. But this test, I can't study tomorrow anymore. And not only that, this test is also worth 20% on my grade. Not to mention, this class is an important one. It's a mandatory one that I have to pass in order to get the degree that I want. So now, obviously, when you weigh them up like that, it's a no-brainer. You're going to go with studying for the test, studying for the exam. Now, some people make strategies such as, going throughout their day, you can have multiple things that you prioritize over another. People use to-do lists a lot of the time. They'll write down a bunch of the things that they want to do, whether it's a daily to-do list or a weekly to-do list or even a monthly one. One of the cons that I did here with this, though, however, is when you write down everything in front of yourself, visualizing, which I myself am a huge fan of because I tend to forget things, and when I have them written down, and no matter throughout the day, I walk past my desk and I see that piece of paper and I see what I have to do, it's a great encouragement. either encouragement of inspires me to get it done, or I feel like it's a negative cloud hanging over my head that says, Daniel, come on, get on it. Let's get this over with. So one of the cons that I was saying with this is sometimes people, when writing it down, they can look at it all as a whole and they can say, holy smokes, this is so much to do. I only have 24 hours today. How can I possibly get through all this stuff? And instead of just keeping their head down and going, they start getting stressed out and being overwhelmed, and this is too much to handle. And the advice that I have for those people is, if you want to write it down, great. What I've personally done, which has helped me in my experience, is start numbering the most important ones. So let's say write down 10 different things. Let's say number 1 is study for exam. Number 2 is take, I don't know, mow the lawn maybe. Number 3 is clean house, whatever it may be. Write it down. As soon as you have them numbered, you only look at number 1 and number 1 only. Pretend none of the other ones exist. Because what happens is when your direction is elsewhere and now you start thinking about other thoughts, oh, I gotta do this, I gotta remember to do that, the chances of you getting overwhelmed are incredibly high. The best thing to do is you look at that number 1, you keep your head down and stay focused. Forget everything else. You go at number 1, you knock it out of the way, then look at number 2, then look at number 3. Sometimes people can get into bad habits of they want to prioritize everything. They want to say, well, this is important, but that's important too, and that's also important. And what happens when we do that is we try to put everything into one day, and it just doesn't work out and brings lots of stress. We have 24 hours in the day, no matter what we do. Whether it's the month of February, whether it's the month of July, August, we have 24 hours. And what we choose to do with that 24 hours is up to us. Now, from a personal experience, I've tried doing everything in one day. Spending time with my family, hanging out with my friends, going to work, working out, reading a book, playing guitar, going for a walk, and it's not possible. You know what? For me, it wasn't. For me, maybe you can. Maybe you can balance all those things. If you can, my next question would be, how well are you doing each thing? How much time are you committing to each thing? Right? Would you possibly want to dedicate your time to one thing, 2, maybe 3 things, and really strive with 100% of your energy, rather than maybe being a jack of all trades, doing a bunch of things, but maybe not with 100% of your energy? So, we'll leave it to you in terms of prioritizing. Once again, I 100% recommend writing things down, visualizing them, but as soon as you have them written down, only look at the things that is your number 1 priority. Don't worry about anything else. Do that, start knocking it down, and most importantly, know why it's your number 1. Be able to back it up. So whenever you try to make an excuse or get out of it or go do something else, you can remind yourself and say, Daniel, we got to do this. This is why. Because this exam is due in 2 days. We have to study. Daniel, you have to take your dog Tom out for a walk because he hasn't gone out on a walk in 2 hours. It's time to go. So as long as you prioritize, writing things down, and know why you're prioritizing what over what, you're good to go. Look at your day. Are you happy with the things that you're prioritizing? If not, why not? Can they be better? That's all this video is meant to do. Just get you to think a little and hopefully help you out. I hope you enjoyed this video, folks. If you like this, subscribe, leave a like, and stay tuned for more. I'm Daniel. This is Psychology Teachings, and have an absolutely amazing day.